One of my favorite effects of Undertale was the rainbow trail left by Asriel in his boss fight, so I've decided to kind of remake it in Godot. I start off with a basic 2D scene, and I'm going to rename it as World, and I'll add my kinematic body as my player into this. Just going to rename it to player, save it as its own branch, and enter the scene. I'm going to add a sprite to it, just so we can get Asriel onto the page. Afterwards, we're going to add a very basic movement script, and I'm just going to copy and paste some basic movement code, have a vector2 variable that holds it and just tracks if we are moving or not, and then just basic UI right, UI left movement, and we've got a moving Asriel. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually add the player shadow effect. So I'm going to create a new branch and I'm going to add it as a sprite, and we're just going to call it player shadow. I'm going to drag and drop the PNG file of Asriel, going into visibility, self-modulate, and changing the alpha value to 50 so it's pretty transparent. Next, we're just going to add a timer node to this, and this is just to make it expire. We're going to change it to 0.35, and we're going to make it a one-shot auto start, just so the timer only starts once. Well, it only runs once, and it starts when it's created. So we're going to loop up the timeout function, and all we're going to do is queue free the sprite, just to get rid of it. That's all this does. Now, we do actually have to spawn this, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to be doing a check during the physics process, where we check if our velocity, if it's not equal to 0, and the timer is 0, we're going to start the timer. And so we just create a timer. We're going to set this to 0.05 seconds, so a very, very short timer. And afterwards, we are going to link up the timeout function, and what we're going to do is we're going to just do another check to make sure that it is moving, and we're going to instance our shadow player object that we just made, and we're going to add it as a child and share the position. Now you'll see that there's a trail of shadows. You'll see a minor issue is that they're spawning on top of Asriel. So all we're going to be going to do is the player shadow, go to the z-axis and make it equal -1. So now Asriel will be on top of the shadows. Now, in order to make those shadows a rainbow, we're going to add an array of various colors. These colors are to simulate what you would find on a rainbow, and we're going to be looping through them, so we're going to have an integer variable to loop through them, and we're just going to make the self-modulate color the color of the array, and then we're just going to make us loop through that array every single timeout. So now when we run the code, we should have a rainbow trail effect with Asriel. It's not quite as nice as the one in the actual Undertale, but it's a good starting point, and there will definitely be ways of improving this. But this is how you can get a really basic rainbow trail effect in your games.